Bedelia makes it a splash. Mrs. Eben stood in front of the fallen cluster of Polaris girls. Patty untangled them one by one, giving each girl a hand up until Aunt Betty was rebuilt at the center of the pile. Mrs. Even shook her head and said, "How can anyone get so filthy so fast? Alice, you've got your uniform on, Amelia Bedelia. You're a mess, but I can tell you are our mess." Mrs. Even continued on to the flagpole. She was carrying a staff with it. Notched at the top in the shape of the letter B. She raised the staff high in the air. The counselors stopped talking to their campus, and each raised one hand, making a letter B with their first two fingers. The campus quickly grew quiet too, and making the same sound with their raised hands. Everybody and the other Polish who was trying not to giggle, shrug, and copy them. When it was totally eerily quiet, Mrs. Even began to talk. I speak. He went to Margarethood. Here we are for another summer and eco woods. Welcome back, ladies, and we welcome to our fun new campus. Now that you kid carefully so, Consul Patrick will show you the whole shebang. Just respect to the molly coral or leave the life or really. Nothing namby-pamby left very long out here in the boondocks. Our cooties may grow them will stick to your rib. We have wonderful nuts. Should anyone come down with the wham, cave the collywobble, or just heebie-jeebie, there won't be any flies in ointment. Oh, but the only thing that bug me is a little bug. That's when I see rat. Now you know how I feel, so we won't shilly-shally another second. Let's save the summer on the word. Mrs. Even waved her staff over her, heading the trump, and the consular cheered. The campbell was swooped as Mrs. Even led everyone toward the dining hall. The Polish girls stood frozen, looking at one another with an utter bewilderment. "What did she just say?" asked Alicia. "Am I still in the United States?" asked Annette. "Am I still on us?" asked said Amy. Even Alice was shaking her head. Truthfully, Aunt Betty felt relieved. For once, she wasn't the only one who didn't have a clue that what someone was talking about. "Mr. Stephen is from another era," said Peggy. "Yes, the Jurassic period," said Amy. Alice laughed. "When she was our age, I bet she had a pet dinosaur. Remember the rule I told you about?" Peggy smiled. "Trust me, you grow to love her. We all do. Now let's go eat." "Must I eat the grub?" asked Annette. "Don't French people eat snails?" said Alice. "Not me," said Annette. "Lunchtime," Peggy called out, clapping 3 times. "I translate what Mrs. Evans said while we eat. Once you get a past language barrel." She had a ton of experience in the outdoor. The dining hall was a big room filled with table and chairs. It was crowded and noisy. The polished table was next to the serious table. "Guzzle of Polaris," said Peggy, made her neighbors serious. "You are the nose stars, they're the dog stars. Their Kevin is not to use." As they introduced themselves, everybody realized that this girl were actually the boys who had surprised her when she was changing. I'm Christine, but you can call me Chris," said Chris. I'm Danny, chauffeur Daniela, and this is my friend Antonia," said Danny. "Honey," said Antonia. Sam and Alex turned out to be Samantha and Alexandria. Alexandra. They smiled at Amelia, and she smiled back, and they should laugh she had seen them before. These were the girls who had laughed at her red and green sneaker on the bus. After lunch, the Polaris girls went back to the cabin and put on their best suit. Padgy gave them a quick tour of the camp so they knew where the showers, toilet, and laundry were located where the Cancelo slept. "That's my cabin," said Padgy, "in case you need me in emergency." She pointed a 2-foot-tall statue of the garden gnome wearing a backpack. "And that's my boyfriend, Sunny God." And she led them past the campfire. "With Crescent," Padgy said, "we can have a campfire twice a week with a lot of singing, some goofy skits, snacks, and stories." "Ghost stories?" asked Amy, "like the one about the lost camper who—" "No, the last thing we need is a camp full of kids so afraid of the dark they can't go to sleep." They toured the arts and crafts buildings, dropped by the cannons and rowboats, and then headed to the beach. "Okay, Polaris, time to make a splash," said Padgy. The straight as stood on the car's stand, ready to dive in. "On your mark, get set!" Padgy blew her whistle, and the girls dashed into the water. In less than 3 seconds, they were all shaking. "Ah! It's freezing!" screamed Alicia. Everybody couldn't even speak. The lake was so cold that her teeth chattered, and her body shook on it down as if flown to someone else. "Egg Lake is deep and cold," said Michael, the lifeguard. She laughed. "Don't worry, it will warm up by next month, so don't get cold feet." "Cold feet?" Everybody had cold everything. Still, she felt a pang of disappointment. She'd be back home when the lake was warm. Michael calmed them out of the water to warm up, and she explained how the body system worked so they could swim safely. Then he was back into the lake to see how well they could swim and tread water. Anna was the fastest, swimming like a little seal. "You go swimming every morning and afternoon," said Padge after they dried off and put their uniform back. They walked over to the trading post, and it was the time for dinner. Even though the food was half good, everybody almost fell asleep in it. She could not wait to go back to the cabin and climb into her bunk. "One last thing before light out," said Padgy. "Please write a note or letter home to let your families know you arrived safely. I'll make them the old-fashioned way for you. You have plenty to talk about after today, but just a line or two will do the trick." Everybody was cozy and comfortable in her bunk, and she had no idea what to say to her parents. She still mad at them. The first thing she saw when she opened her notebook was her summer vacation to-do list. She tore it out and sat it next to the list she had been given of the daily activities at Camp Atchwood. Her summer plan had few amazing and wonderful things to do in one day. Her camp plan had more than 20 things to do each and every day. At the top of the camp schedule she wrote, "Monday, Dad, I wish you were here." At the top of her vacation to-do list she wrote, "And I was there." She folded the list together, slid them into her envelope, wrote her home address on the envelope, and gave it to Padgy. Once Padgy had all 5 letters, she said, "I'll put them in the mail and see you in the morning, newbies. Good night. Don't let the bed bugs bite." "Bed bugs?" said Amelia. She bagged a mosquito planted and stuffed for ticks and chisel. "And what about those little bugs that made Mrs. Evans so angry?" Everybody was exhausted, but there was one last thing she had to do. Taking a pen, she made a tiny mark on the wall next to her bunk. That showed that this day was perfectly over. 127 to go. They would be halfway when her family had promised to meet her and take her back home with them if she wanted. Goodbye.